This is an important part of this story that so many Americans are interested in. What's going to happen to the price of oil? Will the flow of oil in this country actually be interrupted by this large storm? Kevin Kerr is good enough to join us now. He's the kind of guy who predicts these things, looks at what's going to happen in the future. Kevin, just given what you know right now, what do you say? Do you think there will be some kind of undoubted interruption in the flow of oil into the United States because it's hitting this particular area?
Yeah, well, there's a lot up in the air right now. We clearly already have interruption. We've had all these platforms cleared, refineries shut down, pipelines basically secured. So we are going to definitely have disruption. Whether it's prolonged or not will depend on what the damage reports show tomorrow and over the next few days.
All right, well, let me stop you there and ask you what the worst case scenario could be that a guy like you would understand and most of us would not.
Yeah, absolutely. The worst case scenario, in my opinion, would be at the Louisiana offshore platform where we offload these big, very large cargo carriers of oil. If that were to be damaged with, significant damage, that would be the worst case scenario because that's the only place we can really offload these huge carriers of oil. So that would be a significant problem. And also the refineries, as your map earlier when you were talking to Ali showed, we have a ton of refineries right in the eye of this storm.
Yeah.
If those refineries are damaged, those are not as easily fixed as platforms and pipelines. Those take a long time to fix.
Well, if this thing, let's go back to my map that I showed earlier today. If any one of these rigs that we're looking at right now that I'm showing our viewers, especially in this area here where the storm, because it seems like there are so many of them, how can the storm possibly go through there and not seriously affect them? Are they that rigid that a Category 3 storm won't blow a good portion of them away?
Well, a lot of the reports that were coming in before the storm came in, a lot of the oil companies are saying they learned from Katrina, they've anchored these down better. I believe that to some extent, but like as you said, when you have 130-mile-an-hour winds, there's not a lot you can do. Many of these rigs will be damaged, and they will pull away from their anchors. They will, as Ali pointed out earlier, some were traveled 100 miles away, so we could see that kind of damage with these kinds of winds.
All right, so tell me now how I'm going to feel that in my pocketbook if indeed something like that or akin to that were to happen. Explain to us from an economic standpoint how it goes from that to me feeling it the next time I go to fill up, if it does.
Interestingly, you may see crude prices drop initially. The problem is going to be the refined product, the heating oil and the gasoline. If the refineries are damaged, that is where we're going to feel the pinch. You're going to feel it in your wallet, especially cities like Chicago and other areas where it's served by some of these pipelines. It's going to be a big problem. And already heating oil prices are going to be double this year. This could increase prices even more. It could be a force majeure for heating oil.
All right, hey, look, that's good stuff. You're a smart guy. We appreciate you taking us through this and explaining to us something that's, quite complicated for most. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks.
When we come back, we're going to be talking about the storm itself. Let's just break this thing down. Hopefully we'll be able to have about that game, 20 questions. We'll play that game with Jackie Jarris and try and break this thing down so all of us can understand it as best we can as it relates to Gustav. And yes, I've gotten your emails and your Twitters, and I've seen what you've got on MySpace and Facebook. You want to know about Hannah. We'll tell you about Hannah when we come back.